In this video, we're going to look at how to clean a simple piece of data. There are three types of data errors that we're looking at today. The first one will be missing data, second one will be duplicate data, and the third one will be wrong data. Now, we are using this data for our robots that we coded so far, which is Adeline, and based on that, we know that we are not using high, low, and volume information. So for our tolerance, we know that we are able to sort of look over errors with the high, low, and volume data if we have to. So we know that the cleaning framework that we had was to either replace, modify, delete, or ignore the data. For today's framework, we are only going to replace and modify data. This is the framework that we are looking at today. So the first thing we're going to do when we face a problem is to check if there's a new set of data from another source where we can directly import into our dataset. Second, we can look for proxy instruments. For example, if our instrument is closely correlated with another instrument, we can use that instrument to estimate what our correct values will be. Let's say that we have a missing data on Tuesday, and we know that the correlated instrument rose 5% on Tuesday. We can expect our data to rise around 5% as well. Thirdly, if that doesn't work, we will go on to our third method, which is to use previous and next open and close prices. For today, we're going to assume that the first and second step is not available to us. So there's no new piece of data that we can replace. There is no proxy instruments. The only tool we have available to us is step 3, which is to use the price information of the previous and the next data points. We have 6 TDLs today. The first TDL is to check for missing data. After that, we will fix it, followed by checking for wrong data, fixing it, and finally checking for duplicates data and fixing that. Before you modify your data, the very first thing that you must do is to make a copy of it. Highlight everything, copy, create a new sheet, paste it there. You can rename it if you want. I'm going to rename it master copy. And I'm going to hide this sheet so that I do not accidentally edit it. Alright, now we can start. The first thing we're going to do is to look for missing data. Using Excel to look for and to fix the data will require you to have a little bit of Excel skills, but no worries, we'll go through it step by step with you. First thing I'm going to do is to check if there are any empty entries in the data. First, let's check how many entries do we have. Go to cell A1, hold down Ctrl or Command if you're using Mac, and press down. It will lead you to the last cell. So we know that we have 1000 entries for this dataset. Go back up again. I'm going to use a function called count if. So count with counts the number of cells that fulfill a certain criteria, and our range will be between C1, C is the open price. Click on C1, hold down Shift and Control, press down, down, down until you reach 1000, which is the total number of rows we have. Comma, the criteria will be empty cells, and that is represented by 2 double apostrophe, close parenthesis. So this function here highlighted tells Excel to check within the cells C1 to C1000 for any empty cells. Press enter. You see there's 2 empty cells. So let's find the 2 empty cells. First one is here, you can see it. We know that the open price of 6 AM should be almost equal to the closing price of 5 AM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this value and paste it over. As a reference, I'm going to put a comment here so that I know I have edited this cell. Let's find the next one. Note that this count has become 1 from 2 after you have fixed the missing cell. Hold Ctrl, press down. You'll find the next one. Same thing. The open price should be the closing price of the row above it. Copy this, paste over, comment it. The next thing we're going to look for is empty cells in the high, low, close, and volume. Click the bottom right hand corner of H1 cell, drag it to L1. So if you mouse over the formula, you can see that the count formula is duplicated across the columns. For the one in L1, it tells you that it's looking for empty cells in column G, which is what we want. Column F has one missing cell. Do the same thing. Click on column F1, cell F1, hold down Ctrl, press down, and you'll find the missing cell. The closing price for this row should be the opening price of the next row. And that's it for fixing missing data.